Hey, it's Don the Auction Professor here. Today I thought I would show you a little bit more about listing, and we'll go over probably the eBay actual template that I use and my recommendations for setting up your own. I'm just going to list an item and we'll actually go from there. I'm just going to pick a postcard out. My opinion, everybody should be looking out for postcards. I don't care if you're only into clothing or what. Postcards I make money on every single day of the week, and everybody else I know that sells postcards does very well in postcards. Everybody. Let me see here. As long as you spend the time to at least do some basic research, you're going to do very well in postcards. Let's sell a similar item. It doesn't matter what item I pick. They all look the same, so it's not a big ordeal to me. I just need to put it in a different bin. I'm going to pick Z4. That's the level or where I'm at right now. And we're going to start to list this one. Most postcards I'll list more details on. This is not one of the items that I would list less on. And it depends. If it's just like a Santa Claus or something, obviously just the basics on something like that. But when you're talking about a specific city, you want to always list the information. And what you can. Let me load the photo first, and then we'll go back so you can see the item we're talking about. Again, I just picked it from a previous listing and sold similar, so we're going to have to change some of the listings information here. I'm going to go ahead and change the categories. I can change mine real quick. There we go. We're going to change it from that area. Let's see here. We're going to just have to browse. I haven't listed a postcard, and most times when you list postcards, they're in separate categories for like the state and the local area or the type, so you need to actually go ahead and pick it. So it's postcards. I've got one from New Jersey, Passaic, New Jersey. Let's see here, where's states? U.S. states and cities. This is the best place to list cards for any state if you don't know any specifics. All alphabetized, New Jersey. Okay, so now we're going to load the photo so you can see the item. It's on a SD card. That's usually what I do. It depends on what I'm actually photographing. Sometimes I'll just import it straight into the PC from the Digicam control program I use. Let's just get it again. I zoom in, so I'm going to do 3 photos of every item I do that's paper. And I'll show you why again in a minute here. Let's get the information in up here now. It's loading the photo. It's circa 1910, maybe even earlier. It's actually earlier. Let's go ahead and fix that. So 1900-08 is not divided on the back, so more than likely it is from 1907 or before up until the 1898 period. That's the type of postcard this would be. So that's how I put the date on. We're going to put downtown, and we'll go back down. You'll look at the photo again. Post Office, Prospect Street. And then we need a comma, Passaic, New Jersey, vintage, postcard. Or if we don't have the room, postcard. That's the title. Let's go down. We've got this title fixed. For anything I list that's vintage or collectible, even if it's brand new sealed in the box, I always list it as used. Always. Because it's always been around. It's just not going to be as new as they would expect for the most part. I'd rather lose a few bucks and have somebody happy than take a shot any other way. That's just me. You do it however you want, but that's how I do it. And condition-wise, in decent condition for its age as shown. And I always put as shown, so they have to look at it for the rest of the details. And it is in decent color condition. There we are. I've had somebody else take photos for me, so they're still learning. The photos aren't the greatest, but we're going to go with it. I'm sure we can clean it up a little bit. In fact, this is my first picture for it, so let's zoom in on something here. For the first picture, I've talked about this before, I always zoom in on a paper item. You want the neatest part of the item you're doing to be what everybody's going to look at. Yeah, it can be adjusted enough to make it good. That's about what the actual card looks like. I'm holding it here in front of me. Let's see here. And then let's fix up the rest of these. This is a standard postcard, so I don't always put the ruler on these. They're 3.5 by 5.5. The postcards that we produce ourselves, that I do the artwork for, and the wife does poems and things for the back, those are actually the same size. And if anybody else would want to do their own postcards, I would always recommend the standard size. I'm not sure what the technical term is of what they call it, but I believe Continental are the big ones, and these are the vintage style. But again, they're 3.5 by 5.5, standard size. Everybody should know the size. Let's see here. Let's fix this other one. And again, if you're going to do a photo of anything, you've got to have every inch of the item in the image. Don't be cutting off corners. If the photo cuts off part of the item, you need to reshoot the photo. That's just the way it is. Let's see here. And this is the basics. You always need to have the photo and the title. You saw the title. Again, it's a postcard. Z4 is a bin number that I am putting this in, so I know right where to pull it out when I'm ready and when it sells. I never do any of these information here. Waste of time. And sometimes if you're not paying attention, you're selling similar, it's going to carry over information like what type. You might change what it is, or the next card might be unused and you'll forget to change it. I just leave those alone. And let's see here. We got to adjust this. Up for auction is original vintage. And we can just alter this to postcard in decent condition for its age. I'm just going to take off this because we started changing around how we do this. And I'm just going to remove this one too. We can leave that up. Again, please see the images of the actual item above for a better idea of the condition. The packed card, I can keep that because all cards go out the same price, same rate, same everything. Good till canceled. Then I'm going to do buy it now price. $14.50. Let people make offers. And let's see here. Charge sales tax, yes, because I do that. I do have a disclaimer up here. Require immediate payment, yes. Attention all international buyers. All fees such as import fees, taxes, and any other fee imposed by any country or destination point are to be paid for by the buyer. That's so when somebody gets this, they can't say, hey, I didn't know I was going to have to pay import fees because it's over the $20. If you send something to England and it's over $20, they have to pay an import tax on it. I don't alter those numbers at all. It's against the law. Whatever the prices they paid is what gets reported. You're actually having to physically alter form on eBay if you're going to change that for them, and you could get busted on that. It's just a no-brainer. Don't do it. I don't care if it loses you a sale here or there. In the long run, you could lose your whole business, so just don't mess with it. I know it's not a huge issue of them going after people, but I don't do it. I don't mess with it. It's not worth the hassle. The good people that are going to buy from you, and some of the people who ask you to do it, they're just trying to save a few bucks because it is expensive to send it overseas. And I'll show you here what I use for overseas too. No returns accepted. I don't obviously do that because I'm top rated plus seller. I do the returns accepted 30 days, money back or exchange. I let the buyers decide. Return shipping will be paid by the buyer unless obviously it's a case. And I do charge as long as we're allowed to still charge. I do a 10% on that. I don't always do that though. I might just say 10%, and when it comes time to the end, I'll just give them all their money back minus the shipping I originally spent. And then first class, I never do free. I always do calculated. Varies to the buyer's location, so that way, if they're in California, it's not flat rate. The price will change. But for the most part, what I sell, and this postcard is going to be first class anyway, 3 ounces. 1 business day is my handling time. I literally just send everything out that next day or within 24 hours or less. No handling cost. My shipping calculator rule, I'm not going to go into that right now. It'll take too much time. But I do the global shipping program. And again, for shipping overseas, I do the same way as I do it for the U.S. Cost varies by buyer location. And then I'm very specific for this postcard, and most of these 3-ounce items, they would go first class international. And I only ship to like these countries here direct: Canada, UK, Germany, France, Japan, and Australia. The other countries in here I've had issues with more than just once, so I literally have chopped them out. China, I have lost, I don't know how many packages, 2 or 3 for my son this year alone. Didn't show up, or something happened to him in shipping. So I'm not going to mess with some of these other countries. If there was better coverage and I wasn't liable for a loss, I might change that, but it just hasn't been the case. All these other countries I haven't had an issue or lost. There's been one item to France for $14 that was lost, but it never did show up. I could see the tracking. I send everything first class international, which includes tracking, so I can see when it goes over there. For these countries that I've checked off here, you can literally track everything. You can see it almost to their door, so that's pretty good, I would say. Actually, it does show delivery on those. I don't do additional eBay sites or combined shipping discount or anything like that. I just flat now adjust it at the end. It's same price to ship 1 postcard as it is to ship 10, so I just give them the flat rate. If they order 10 postcards, it's still going to be the same quoted price. And actually, this one's only 3 ounces. And I use my poly bags, 9 by 6 by 1, and the weight, it's going to be 3 ounces. And that's literally it. I'm still in my free area now. You can see all the excluded areas that I do. Let's see here. I don't think I'm missing anything. But that's literally all there is to listing. We're going to go down here and list this, and we will talk just a minute more about that. Most of the settings that I show you, it's all the same no matter what I do. I do that for every single listing. What I just did, that's how I start. If I'm going to list a baseball, I'm going to start with one of these same listings, and I'm going to alter the exact same information. Literally, that's what I do for everything. If it's a shirt or something, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just sell similar item, and I'll keep shirts all together, so I'll sell like 10, 20, 30 shirts all at the same time, or jackets, or whatever the case may be. I usually wait and have a bunch of the same things that I list at the same time. It just has always worked out the best for us. We have multiple purchases constantly, daily, and from doing things like that. This is the listing. It's already up, so you can kind of see both ends of it. It's an active listing, top rated plus. That's the discount that I keep. I do get a discount off of that. It's like 1% or something off the sale, but at $20,000 a month or so, it's a big difference, especially during the fourth quarter. It's a huge amount of money to come back. It adds up with all the other discounts and all the other features we get, and money back, and whatever else we can get. But again, this is the one we just made here. Same pictures and everything else. You can see too, this is an undivided back postcard. And again, if you don't know postcards, I would recommend that beyond belief. That is the one item in paper that you will see at probably every single estate sale or flea market I have ever been to. This is something you can actually get in antique malls. I can go to antique stores and rummage through their postcards and almost always walk out with a couple $100 worth of good postcards that I'm going to make some good money, a couple $100 profit on. And that's almost a given, honestly. Because most people don't pay much attention to them. They don't know which ones to look for. They haven't invested the time and energy into figuring out. So this would be a bolo for me to anybody as well, too. You always want to mess with postcards. Learn the postcards. Early scenes like this, street scenes, scenes from downtown, main streets are always good. Railroad depots are always good. I mean, there's some, obviously, if they're not old enough or a bad picture, or it's a very common card that aren't going to be worth a ton of money. But if it's like a real picture postcard, you're almost guaranteed you're going to get a decent price for early Main Street images and like train depots, trains, car accidents, pre like 1930-ish, railroad accidents, boat accidents, all kinds of events that you could just imagine. Native Americans, military, nautical, transportation, like the Titanic or something like that. Titanic postcards, $500-600, all the way up to $900 or $1,000. Early baseball players and real picture postcards go for, they could go for $10,000 for a real good picture postcard of a baseball team or something like a Ty Cobb or something. I mean, they're high dollar items. But that's about it. That's literally all we do for a listing. You see, it didn't take long at all. There's not much to it. Once you type in the little bit of information you need in there, it's just a matter of adding your condition, which shows up right here. They can instantly see what it is. A lot of people won't even come down here and read these days, I see, because I'll constantly have people ask. Sometimes the people reading off devices, I'll have 2 or 3 pictures for every item, and they won't notice a ruler in the second or third picture because they're literally only looking at the first picture for whatever reason that may be. But that's just the way it is. But again, Don, the Auction Professor, I've got several new videos coming out and some how-tos. I'm going to have a What's Sold at the end of the week coming up here. And I'm probably going to be going into doing a couple of live feeds where you can ask some questions if there's anything you'd like to know. I also have a giveaway I'll be doing when we hit 300. The minute I hit 300, I will be posting a video that's already done with an opportunity for you to win some items here that will be given away. But again, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Tell a friend, and have a good day.